Hey, good afternoon. This is Dano with Danotech 5, and we're going to replace a couple switches today on my 2011 Honda Pilot, and we're going to get right into it. Just to give you a quick description of what's going on, this switch here, the high light on the switch here, see how it lights up? It's low. If you hit high, no light. And just to show you what it would look like, there it is. So got a replacement switch right here off the internet, and also the VTM lock right there, VTM 4 lock button will light up this part of it, the orange. However, the actual button is supposed to light up at night and it's dark, so we have a replacement one of those. So I'm going to give a quick tutorial on how to take this dash apart. Now, people have used this, taking the radio out to demonstrate this, but I'm doing these switches specifically, so that's what I'm going to concentrate on. Okay, I don't have my Pro Tools on me, so don't need professional tools. This makes it a little easier, but if you have a Phillips screwdriver, that'd be helpful. And I'm using a screwdriver that's got some masking tape on it to pop these panels. And that's good. You can use plastic paddles. They work better. That's usually what I have in my box, but like I said, I don't have my box available. It's in storage. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these panels. Okay, I'm going to very carefully come up here about where the hazard light switch is, and this panel here is not being held in by anything other than some clips. So I'm very carefully inserting my screwdriver and I'm working it down in there, and I'm going to pop this. Yours may not pop as easily. I think this has been apart before, so it's not very difficult. But as you can see there's a clip down in there. I would probably go a little bit above that and just pop it. Take your time. There's no reason to be in a hurry. All you're going to do is just do damage. It's very easy to damage around the edges of this panel, so you want to be careful. And as you can see, it's popped all the way down. That's kind of what you want. And now we have an issue with the shifter. It's in the up position, so what we need to do, applying my foot on the brake, I'll take my keys. It's going to make a bunch of racket because, you put your key in there, and Honda, has their safety things. So you're going to take this bad boy, put it down in, another thing you might want to do, parking brake. There we go. That's a good idea. And that way it don't roll away. So you're going to take this bad boy, you're going to work it off like so. And there's some stubborn clips down here, and I'm going to work the screwdriver on this side too. Work it down in there. I'm kind of doing this one-handed, which is a little tricky. But once you get started up at the top, you should be able to work your way down and pop it. I'm going to take this bad boy off, but you get the general idea. You basically just work yourself down the edges, being very careful not to gouge it all up because it's easy to do. And you're going to pop this panel off, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, I've managed to pop the bottom very carefully, and as you can see, it's loose. So now you're just going to work this up on the shifter, and there's going to be some wires up under here. So you're going to take, sorry about the bad cinematography here, but it is kind of bright out. It's a really nice day, probably about 60 degrees. So we definitely are enjoying that. And we're going to unhook this VTM lock button harness underneath here. You're going to squeeze the tab and pop it out. And then you're going to do the same up here for the hazard. Okay, going to show you the hazard really quick. See, it's got this little harness up here. There's a little tab. You push in on it, it pops right out. Very easy. Okay, going to show you the VTM Plus 4 tab on this, on the back side. It's hard to see it, and it's right there. I'll pop that bad boy, squeeze up my thumb, and pull it out. There you go. Okay, that's what it looks like with the panel off. And this is the front side. I'm going to flip it over, and when you're on the back side, here's your VTM Plus 4 button. As you can see, there are 2 Phillips screws. You're going to take those out. Okay, once you take these screws out, you're going to put them someplace safe, right there. And then we're going to, this lifts up. It's got a couple little pins, and that's good because it aligns it. So we're going to pull it out, and that's all there is to it. Now, I am also going to mention something as well. This does not light up because the bulb has gone bad. And I think this is a sealed unit. I don't believe you could change the bulb in these. So I went and bought the entire switch. However, this seat switch has a white cover on it. You see that? That peels off. I'm not going to peel that off of this one because this is my new one. Whoop, flip it over. But on the underside, it's got this white material, and there are actual bulbs under here. So I could have changed the bulbs because the high isn't working, but I'm going to keep the old switch because there's a couple good bulbs in it, and if I have one burn out, then I'll know to change it. I'm not worried about it. The cost of this was under $20 for the switch, so I'm happy with it. I'm just going to go ahead and change it anyway, and we'll address that here in a minute. Okay, VTM lock button, like I said, it just has 2 tabs. I'm going to show you those, and the screws, and basically you just align the tabs, and it slides down very easily, like so. And then you just put your screws back in, and you're good to go there. Okay, the screws have been put in with the DeWalt power tool. Caution, these are plastic, and if you're using a power tool, I know this is probably not really necessary to talk about. It is so easy to strip these things, so use a really light touch on the trigger. If in doubt, use a regular screwdriver. It's not very hard at all to wind them in by hand, but don't over torque them and split them because it's just annoying, and then you'd have to go to the junkyard and buy this whole piece, which probably wouldn't be very cheap. I was originally going to go to a salvage yard to try to find used switches because I was like, well, I don't really need new ones. They're like hen's teeth, really hard to find. The salvage yards I called didn't even have them available because the dashes were already out or they've been damaged. So, but I have 64 bucks total into both switches with shipping. The shipping was about double the cost of getting the switches. I think the switches were only around 30 odd and change. So, all right, let's go ahead and dive into taking this off so we can get to the seat switch. Okay. In order to take this cup out, you're going to have to take the other side off because you have a overlap, and also down in the bottom are 2 Phillips screws. You see that? Those have to come out in order for this cup dealer bob to come out. I think it's got clips on the top, but I'm going to take those 2 screws out, and I'm going to show you that. And very carefully, be sure you go in the right direction so you can strip anything. Zip it out like so. Alright, and zip this one out like so. Okay. put them in your safe spot over here so you don't lose them. And then, oh, as far as taking this side off, sorry about that. Same deal as this side. You just very carefully work around it and it pops off. It's not being held by screws or anything like that. They're good clips though, and if you haven't had these off before, they might stick quite a bit. So just take your time and be careful. That's where a plastic paddle would come in really handy. So I'm pop the bottom, and that top, I just grasping on the sides and give it a little pressure. And she pops right out. And that's it. And then you have access to the back side. So we're going to unplug these. I don't think you can mix them up, but you definitely don't want to get them backwards. So I think these are two different harness plugs. But you can see the wires on the back. They're differing lengths. So you really can't mix them up. I guess you could if you really tried, but just be careful. And they should naturally lie in their places. But you want to take these off so that you can get this panel out. You can get to the screws on the back side, and I'll show you that here in a minute. Okay, and the releases for the switch harnesses are up underneath. The tabs are. You just squeeze them, and I'll show you that one right there, and then this one. And all you do is you just carefully push down, and they wiggle it a bit, and they come right out. This one was on top. It's got a little tab. This is for the light, so I don't think that goes bad very often, but it's a little blue light in there. I really like the features of this vehicle. Having these, I think it's got a blue LED up here, which is nice. Gonna go ahead, flip it over, and there are screws. There are 2 screws on the switches, and you just unbolt it, and you bolt your new one in. Pretty easy. At this point, I've already changed the switch out. Just took the screws out, placed it in there, screwed it back together. And at this point, we don't need to lengthen the video out. And at this, you have it. All you got to do now is plug all your stuff back in. Everything just snaps back in. You put your screws back in the corners that you took out for this piece. If this thing's filthy, it's a good time to clean it. Just be careful, you know, with using cleaner, because you do have some electrical connections. Just be careful about. This just snaps in, which is really easy. And also over here, it's still in neutral or drive, so the shifter's out of the way. Obviously, when you're done, you can put it in park. And that's pretty much it. I'm not going to belabor the assembly of everything, because you took it apart. You know how it goes back together again. Take your time, be careful. These little plastic pins or whatever, you don't have to force them. They should snap in, no problem. And great. So you have a good day. I don't So here I am at the end of the video, and I just wanted to take opportunity to thank you for watching. If you like what you see, then by all means subscribe below. If there's any questions that you have, I'd be more than happy to answer those. And or if you have a comment, criticism, whatever you'd like to put in the comments section, I would greatly appreciate that. And thank you for making this channel good by giving feedback, and I hope this is a blessing to someone. This is going to save you money, because I'm sure that a dealership would want quite a bit, at least an hour, for putting these switches in. And you can handle it. You can handle it yourself. So if you need any further assistance, by all means, like I said, feel free to contact me. You have a blessed day, and hopefully we'll have some upcoming videos. My wife's Ford Fusion needs some motor mounts, so I'll probably make one on that as well. That's going to be a bit of a challenge. I haven't done the transmission mount, so it'll be a learning experience, but hopefully I'll figure it out and I will share my knowledge with you, because that's what it's about, is being a blessing to others. You have a good day.